can never be sure with YouTube.
Hi.
Hi, Andrey. So, Postgres Hacking 101, new episode, quite spontaneous as usual, right? So we have an idea to review some patches today instead of trying to develop. But first of all, we sent everything we developed so far, right? So everything is in Hackers and some things already even commit fest entries, right? So I mean, last time Kirk developed something and it was he sent
that time in prompt is ready for committer now, and Lawrence Alba switched it ready for committer, and his voice is very important in community.
Right. So we're talking about this.
Uh-huh.
And its status changed. Everything is
just
good.
A few minutes ago, he changed it to ready for committer.
Great, like Oracle has. Okay, so okay, good. This is good. But I wanted to ask.
If it gets committed, it will be our first result of something from our on-air hacking getting to the core.
All right. So I wanted to ask you. Actually, today is March 2nd. And we why we have periods of 2 months here. So it was January, then February nothing, and then March. Why is it so? So what happened with February? Why no?
I think the committers are supposed to do their work. I don't know, commit their own patches or something like that.
Okay, so it's like right now there is an opening period when new ideas can be added to the commit fest, and then April will come and it's like kind of review period. So we are not quite right that March is for review, March is for coding, right? Okay.
Yeah, but the process is not very, very closely followed. But the idea was that this is commit fest is a month when you can get a review from someone who posted ideas before. So it's just a way to attract more reviewers and attract more committers to ready patches. Actually, this is an attempt to somehow organize our process. I know maybe you heard how it is organized in Linux kernel. How do they do that? They are very similar, I think.
Oh, I don't follow. I only several times touched it. And I've also, as I remember, they use GitHub somehow, also using emails and so on, but I'm not an expert here at all. So
do they have this monthly cadence of doing housekeeping, committing community patches, doing housekeeping, committing community patches?
This idea is generally absolutely good because it's like agile. You have iterations. Of course, having 2 or 3 weeks iterations or 1 week iteration in this case it seems impossible, and 2-month period seems reasonable to me, right? So waves are good here, right? But I'm not sure about Linux at all. Wrong person to ask.
Actually, March Commit Fest is a bit special because in April we will have a feature freeze for Postgres 16, and next Commit Fest will be in July because committers need the time for grand housekeeping.
Right. So it means that for new features this month, March is the last one.
Yes.
Right.
So yes, March and sometimes few days in April when you
it's time to add something good like column storage engine, right? Finish work on 64-bit transaction ID, right?
Yes, sounds really funny.
Finish work on these scalable subtransactions, bigger buffers and so on, SLRU buffers and so on.
In fact, in March, usually only very simple patches are getting committed because committers are somewhat exhausted with heavy features from January and November. And in fact, for a patch author, everything's finished when the patch is committed. But then build farm might be read and some side effects that affect others. And now committers will form not just committers, all the community will form so-called open items list. So known problems that were not fixed during commit fests. And before Pgcon at the end of May, they will be working on this just iterating what are in the list to finish before the release in September. And the whole summer will be occupied by just fixing things that got broken during commit fests.
So it's interesting. You mentioned Pgcon. It means that Pgcon plays an important role in development of new major version, right?
Well, it used to, but it was not like in person for many years now, 3 years or so. And that's kind of one of the problems, because usually Pgcon was a place for developers meeting, where committers and some other important contributors could meet each other in person and discuss how to advance things further. I was first time in my life invited in a developers meeting in Brussels a month ago, but unfortunately I couldn't make it to.
But this year it looks like Pgcon is planning to be in person unless something happens, right?
I hope so. Yeah, I got my
acceptance.
Yes, my talk accepted, and I'm already preparing stuff about GIST. I'm not entirely sure to be able to attend, but I very hope to. We're very looking forward for the Pgcon.
Right. Yeah, that would be great. So, what are we going to do today? Review some patches, or?
I have two topics. First one, I wanted to discuss with you about common
the
text.
idea to extend the wire protocol, or no? Oh, like
not extend protocol, but slightly change the meaning of string which is not used by anyone. And second, I wanted to discuss with you and the community, with our audience, patch about libpq load balancing. So where do we start? From review or from?
Let's start from this idea. So let me like as I understand it already. So we have a table. Table T, I think we have create table. So we have a table. We insert something into table. I like to insert. I like
it's really funny.
You haven't seen this?
How many rows you can insert into this table?
Yeah, we recently had discussion on Twitter. So the maximum is 20, like for one column tables, and for column size up to 8 bytes, of course. With alignment painting, it doesn't matter. It can be a 1 byte or 8 bytes or 2, 4. It will be 242 rows or something, right? But for empty, like 0 column tables, it's 292. I might be slightly off.
You can insert another row in this table,
of
right?
course, yes, and it will have the same page, of course, and you see like
get it.
Yeah,
get it.
So,
in relational algebra and theory of databases, they have a concept of table D and table DUM. This is a reference to Alice in Wonderland, the empty table with no rows and empty table with just one row. And in theory, you cannot have more than one row in such table, because it would be like you can distinct them. But in practice, I see that Postgres can do impossible things.
I remember an article about it. Later, I will find it and maybe attach. So we discussed this idea. We like sliding off the topic. Insert this response from Postgres. It says only something inserted, but in which table we don't know, right? And the idea is probably we should extend it, but you said probably it will be hard to get accepted because it's very old. And
that's the 0 is exactly the reason why it will be hard to get accepted.
0.
Because do you know what the 0 means?
No.
This is an object identifier of last inserted record.
So if I insert 10 rows. The second number is the number of rows, but
Number of
zeros.
affected rows.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
yes, number of processed rows, it's called in the source code. And the first 0 is from, it used to be object identifier before Postgres 11. So currently, all and every supported versions of Postgres will return you 0 as a first digit here, because object identifiers are not supported anymore for 5 years already.
But delete doesn't have doesn't have it. Why?
Yes,
it should have,
because there is no point of returning object ID of something that you have already.
Okay, I see. So if I say delete return everything, at least one column. I don't have columns, sorry.
You can alter table and edit the column.
No, I understand, but it's not interesting. I also realize that I don't know how to update it. I'm sure some way.
Try returning CTID.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, CTID, it works definitely here.
Cool.
And but you said like again no 0 here.
Yes, it was not designed by protocol.
Okay,
to return object identifier.
So you think if we idea was it was from Kirk, I think, right? I don't remember. It was, we discussed it in Telegram, and the idea is let's put table name right here for further analysis. What happened?
Which table? If you are using temporary table, does it make sense to put a name of a table here?
We cannot delete from 2 tables at once, right? So there's always one table there. Well, if we delete through updatable view, this is interesting question.
Actually, so you can have multiple relations here, and it's not clear which relation do you want to see here.
Okay, so you didn't express this criticism during Telegram discussion. Okay, but
because Telegram discussion was 5 minutes long.
Okay. So, okay, I cannot do it. Well,
it's not just about delete. It's about common text that we return for select or for update or for alter table, for alter user. There is a whole number of commands that return different common text.
Create view, which view? So if we have, for example, a dump and we restore it to new database, we have a bunch of output always looks like create view, create index, create table, and we don't understand. And if we can prefix it with time stamps as we like, we can use TS usually, right? But it will be hard to understand at which point of time which object was created or filled with data and so on, right? This is the problem we're trying to solve, right? Or not?
Okay, and I have one more question to this problem, one of criticism point. So if we are extending these command line tools, maybe we should ask for graphics tools to be better. Are you sure?
Graphics tools, how can they know which object it was? Right?
Let's read the whole dump and understand what they're inserting.
Right. Okay, but it can be not PG Restore or Psql. It can be something else and like some different program.
That's actually more philosophical questions. Do you think that Postgres users will have to deal with command line interface for next 10 years?
I'm sure we will be chatting with ChatGPT only, and that's it. So. By the way, we decided to invite ChatGPT to our next podcast with Michael, Postgres FM podcast, and ask a question that we will answer. So it will be interesting. I tried it yesterday. It was not so bad. So I think we will answer first AI generated question next week. So I don't know.
I remember 10 years ago, having a good graphics interface was a big thing. And for example, Microsoft SQL Server have a great management studio. Microsoft SQL Management Studio is a best database management program I ever saw. It's brilliant. It's super responsive. It doesn't run on iPad. and that's a problem.
Right.
But
yeah. But
then there's possible, and everyone is doing command line interface again.
Yes and no. I see both directions are developing. So I mean, we tried Gitpod and it was Visual Studio there running in browser. It was good. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
So essentially,
Okay,
if we
it's
put it
different.
forward into a command completion text, we are developing command line interfaces.
Right.
And that sounds like something that makes sense.
So,
okay.
So do you think it's a good idea to implement, or it's like dead end and nobody will accept it? Never. I mean, community.
I have an idea how to get it accepted. Like you see this zero, this zero before the insert.
Right.
It's preserved for already unsupported versions for protocol compatibility. So some systems might expect this number, and this number is still there just to make sure that everything works as it was working. Do not break things that are there for centuries. And that's why we cannot just say, no, insert command text will be different now. But what we can ask for extensibility. And then we can try to come up with information that can be used by extension that is like formatting command tag.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand, like, I still don't like that we don't have zero. You're talking about zero, but we don't have zero for delete, so
we have zero in insert.
Right.
We have zero in insert, and it's not about in which command it is. It's about how fragile is the matter, how all the diligence is applied to what bytes we return to user in command tag. Like we must be compatible. Because there might be some systems that is really accounting on this tag, but for most other systems, we can just create an extension that is doing fancy tags and is formatting. Another way we can do some GOOK to change output format, like say command tag, number of rows affected, list of relations.
But I don't like to develop non-defaults. We did it like already, but I'm sure 99% of people will be on default setting. So it would be good to change.
Know that shared buffers are 128 megabytes now.
Yes, but well, yes, but
I own a machine with 256 megabytes. Really 20 years ago, 21 years ago.
Right. Yes. Well, yes, but this is you're dragging me to different area completely. But on RDS, it's not that, right? So you are working at AWS right now. RDS that has different defaults, 25% of memory, and all managed Postgres usually do this.
So I see you don't like to develop hidden features.
Yeah, we developed something and only 1% of users reach this feature, and we didn't make improvement at large scale because improvement would be any dump restore, you see insert, you see table name. But if it's so difficult to change, well, it's a pity. Right.
We can like dump and restore are client programs. They are front-end programs.
Right, it's easier to change them than protocol, right.
Let's create a GOOK
GUC
that is altered during PG start and PG stop start, PG restore and PG dump start. I'm pretty sure there is a whole bunch of similar GOOKs which are manipulated by, let me share a screen.
Sure. You want to create it now? Like we have
no. I think their discussion about what to do will be enough, and maybe we could do it later. Do you see my screen?
I see it, but font is quite small. I hope our audience already understands that we can do it. I mean, you can do it, but not today.
Yeah. So what I wanted to show you is the start of pg dump.
Yeah, I understand. You like there is a setting
statement timeout. You see that at the beginning it is doing set statement timeout already.
Right.
To like not fail because of a strange server settings, and we can make what we can create this Google, which is essentially format of command tag, and then pgdump, when it connects to server or pg restore.
I know how to sell it to in hackers. Extensibility for command tags. Make command tags extendable, right?
We really don't need to invent a hook for this. We can just make it Google, and I like the idea. I didn't have this idea 10 minutes ago. So
it's like, for example, log line prefix. It accepts like some string with percent something. Here we could invent something like that and allow users to define at any point of time. You can say, okay, now I want Postgres to return a response in this format with table name, with timestamp maybe, and so on, right? And this falls into the idea that Postgres should be very extendable philosophy of Postgres, right? And this already makes things much better. We're not just breaking protocol or something. We make it extendable, right? What do you think?
Let's implement it, but not today.
No, of course, extendable. It's already it becomes bigger.
Task, I think we can do it next time, and it feels like 30 or 40 minutes of hacking. So we just don't.
At least for few things like timestamp, table name, something else, right?
Yeah, table names. You can have a relation list actually. Probably there will be useful to have a time and a number of rows affected.
Relation it should be a list, right? I showed the updatable view example. It can be partition table, so you delete from multiple partitions at once and so on.
You know what is the problem with this? That you have you have the same format for any command type. Like you alter user, and what relations do you want to show? Or you create extension and
alter user, no relations involved, right?
Okay.
Zero relations. So with only roles.
Would we want a different
objects,
different format strings for different command types?
I don't know. It's for thinking. I just realized that can be bigger.
Maybe after this discussion, let's create a thread in Twitter and ask what falls.
Yeah, let's do it. And also worth checking, maybe this idea already explored in the past. So
I just wanted to show that ClickHouse, for example. ClickHouse is showing like is showing something in the end of it, and they really pay much attention to this.
I remember T-shirt from some meetup where it was saying like 200 gigabytes per second, like many millions rows inserted.
They brag in command completion tag, and that's fine. That's just what I don't know how to find it, but
yeah, let's postpone it. We definitely will return to this topic. It's already 25 minutes, and let's review some patches as
yes,
planned.
I propose reviewing support load balance in libpq. Do you see my screen
sounds
now?
Good. I see. Yeah, we see it.
So the idea this patch is currently ready for committer, but anyway, I think it worth to show some support for the feature because maybe it makes sense for someone. What's the big idea of load balancing here? Currently, you can have multiple names in connection string, multiple server names in connection string, and they will be.
You mean host equals one host, comma, second
yes.
host, and so on. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and for example, you can say that your target session attributes is read-write, and you will iterate over hosts until you find the primary. And it's already working, and it's how it used to be. For example, in my previous workplace, we used to sort host order in latency.
Mm-hmm.
So,
who did that? Who was sorting?
Fastest host is first.
But who did that? Who applied this sorting?
But it could be dead, and if it's dead, we will connect to next one.
Right. But how did you do it? I mean, application code did this or something else? Like
yes.
What checked latencies? It's interesting.
I don't know. I think they used some combination of ping or something like that.
But if you do this for all application nodes, doesn't it mean that all nodes will try to connect to the same server always? You should have some logic of like
application
round robin.
backends are distributed among different data centers.
Okay.
And from different data centers, you have different access times, different hosts. It will work in every cloud. So you have availability zones, and interconnection between availability zones goes through different channels. They have different latencies.
So it was, it's interesting. Great. Yeah.
So, but this patch is assuming that you have many read-only nodes in the same availability zone with the same latency. And they propose that you could just randomize access to this. So they just randomly shuffle list of server names.
Doesn't that mean that if one node is really suddenly down, I mean, if we don't, in this case, we don't care about latency, we randomly shuffled everything. It means that, for example, one application, like one node is not down, it started to be very slow. Latency increased plus 1 second, for example, right? In this case, does that mean that all application nodes will notice it? So I mean, I don't like the idea of simple random without analyzing latencies.
But that's what patch proposes. So our first review note is that
this is what usually we
this.
This is exactly what we many times implemented on application side. Random, like round robin or random, it's easy to implement. But I saw the cases when one replica becoming slow and all replicas notice it. Like you check monitoring and everyone, like we have a dip in TPS.
I understand what you are saying. So basically, like every connection have a chance of stumbling upon that node and waiting for connection timeout until it's alive.
Exactly. So without control of latency, it can be quite weak.
So let's do this mark down, like mark the node down in shared memory in one of our hacking sessions, because the patch that we are reviewing now is just randomizing.
Okay. Yeah.
So the patch contains, that's the idea of the patch. If you want to give some insights about the idea, criticism or support, please send it to list. That's the idea, just randomize host list. And I can say a few words about the implementation. First of all, first patch, this patch is for already 1 year old. Yesterday, Jelt posted new version. Maybe not even yesterday. Yes, yesterday in evening.
Version 9 already, right?
Version 9, yes. It has 3 steps. I just committed it into my repository, and it passes all tests, as you see. First patch is just automatic formatting. There is
first
nothing.
It applies, right? First, not passing test, but first it applies cleanly, right?
No, it doesn't apply cleanly.
Okay.
It actually had white space errors. It's nothing really. Let's find it how I was applying it. Yeah, it have some blank line errors. It's just a noise for committer, because committer before pushing it will scan through the patch and remove this blank line. Let's see what was that blank line in line 495. 495. I don't know, I don't see it. Let's copy something for search. Diff with previous version. I don't see what was that ending problem, but it's there. But let's move on. It applies somehow.
Okay.
with some noise.
Some minor thing, right?
Minor things that we can note that it can be fixed. Next, first patch is just PG indent formatting, because some other commit changed a lot in the area of libpq. libpq is a C library to connect to Postgres.
Almost every driver from any language uses it. Almost.
Well, I do not agree. JDBC uses their own implementation.
Right, okay, excluding
Pgcon uses their
excluding,
own implementation.
Right. But okay, many, not almost all. Okay,
they
okay,
just
agree.
Bytes.
Right,
so,
right. Many of them. Okay, many of them.
Yes, there are at least more than one. More than one is many. So, second step is more interesting. Here we are doing. Currently, there is a structure which is called Pgcon. This is actually a connection, just a connection structure, which encompasses all the stuff about one server connection. Pgcon struct. This is a private name, and there is a public name of Pgcon from a big, yeah, that's how it's called Pgcon. And in this step, we simply take out list of connections outside. And when you got a connection, it already connection to one specific host, not a connection to many hosts. So this step is just refactoring code to remove addresses from connection to wrapper code. I skimmed through the C code and found no problems there, so maybe it makes sense. But I'm not entirely convinced that connection should forget addresses which it was trying to connect. I would even say that we would like it to have some shared information about which nodes are down, probably are down. But let's move on. And there is a third patch step, which is actually adding randomization. Let's see which files it is changing. It's adding a lot of documentation and CI changes, and also it adds test. But let's see what is doing from user perspective. It adds connection parameter load balance hosts And currently it can be disabled or random. And random seed to configure random generator. And then this is a function to initialize random seed generator. It takes some entropy from current time, and that's it. I think that's fair for our purposes. Not very super duper proper pseudo random generator, but fine. And if our option is enabled, we are doing initialization of random number generator, and then we are doing what is called Fisher-Yates shuffle algorithm. This is a very interesting stuff. Fisher-Yates shuffle algorithm is a way to shuffle list. Sounds simple, but it's not. There is a simple algorithm which is just permutation algorithm. When you generate random permutations n times, where n is a length of a list, and then you think that everything is done. But the problem is random permutation algorithm is not even. It has some skew. And here patch author implement Fisher-Yates, and I think he's wrong. Let's consider this cycle, this for loop.
You mean the wrong implementation of this algorithm?
Yes, I maybe I just did not understand something, but it seems we have a bug here. Let's see what's going on. From second element for each other element in a connection list, we are generating another point, and if that point is less than current, we are doing swap, exchange of two elements in a list. That is entirely correct. Simple check that it must pass that when we have two addresses, we will have one iteration of this cycle, and maybe we will swap these connection addresses.
And for one element, we will have zero cycles, so nothing to change, right? For one
yes, if we have one element, there is nothing to randomize. We cannot change the order of one element.
Right.
But what I see as a bug here is that say we have connection A, B. Let's say we are running with I equals 1, and then I is 1.
You mean J is 1? Or
J is 1, yes.
We don't do anything because
we are replacing I element with J element.
Right. So they are missing like if should these two lines should be inside one block, and if like curly braces are missing for these two lines, right? Or no? Because like we do this only if under condition, but this is what we always do. Okay. So it's assignment. Something is strange.
I do not understand it. I see that assignment is like unconditional.
Right.
But is it okay?
Maybe not.
If J is 1, 2, they are simply equal.
Yeah. So we have temp is taken from J and it goes to I always without checking any conditions. Yeah, I agree with you. It's strange.
But I'm not convinced that this is the bug, because J is constrained by I. It's no more than I. Right. So we cannot rewrite anything that is after I.
Strange.
it reads strange, but I think it's still correct. But what is the point of replacing? So we are doing this,
yeah, it looks
without this
strange.
only if I equals j. So this is some nitpicks. It looks correct, but we should send it to the list and just ask.
Yeah, maybe it should be rewritten in more explicit form, just to avoid any guesses, and like just if this, else then, that's it.
Maybe.
Okay.
I will think about it more offline. What else do we have in this patch? We are free in memory that we used to allocate, and we are doing it free Pgcon. Let's check that we are allocating in a counterpart. Where is it allocated? It's not allocated anywhere. How come? Probably because it must be allocated by this system that is parsing arguments. Okay. We have some things to work it on Windows. Probably it's a good thing. Currently, we have two versions, disable and random load balancing. Probably at one point in time, we'll have load balancing like ping and check latency version, latency ordered version. I think that would work better if it's automatic.
Yeah, latency is important, and also question how to measure it properly and like what to look at. Just round trip time.
You don't need like actually round trip time. You can measure time of first byte received from server, and it will be like round trip time.
Then I will want some thresholds to consider. Is it like stale connection, for example? If it exceeds 1 second, I don't want to wait anymore and like mark it bad, and that's it. Sometimes like it's also like some thresholds additionally. So it's a big area to think about.
If you have some slow server that is responding you in 3 seconds, and some failed server that is responding, that is failing connection in 1 second, you will again and again try.
Yeah, well, this is not reasonable setting in this case, but I mean threshold should be configurable. This is what I think, depending on situation. Sometimes 1 second is good enough. But
configuring is hard. You want everything to work just by default.
I agree. This is my point, actually,
just
from
start
earlier.
and let it work.
Yes.
Okay. Some tests that seems valid. I'm not sure they try all the possible configuration, but I like the fact that they try different hosts list and different port lists. So you can have for the same host name, you can have still different addresses. And probably that's it. That's all what I can say about this patch. Maybe you have some questions or like something to check.
No, I already raised questions. I think that's it, probably. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, so that's all what we wanted to do today, or do we have something to discuss?
Yeah, that's it. Let's keep it short today. I know you need to go. Thank you so much. It was interesting. We didn't write anything except my silly SQL.
Next time we will do this gag for.
Yeah, let's think about it. It's interesting.
For common competition.
Good. Have a good rest of the week, everyone. Please let us know if you have ideas or feedback, comments, and so on. Good. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.